All right, welcome everybody to the next episode of the Irish Iron Podcast. Today's guest is IFBB professional bodybuilder Shane Cullen. How are you doing, Shane?
How you doing, Owen? Long time no speak.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Whoa! sorry, Owen. I have an unwanted visitor.
Oh, I love it, love it. So
We look
you
after. Yeah, I'm good. We normally look after our friend's dog. So
okay? Deadly,
she hasn't seen me in about a month, so she's
yeah,
happy.
deadly man. Now I have two dogs at home, and they're excited every single day. You walk in,
What kind
uh,
of dogs have you got?
Cocker poo. So there's like a Cocker Spaniel and a Poodle mix. It's a medium. It's not a big dog, but
Yeah.
I want a big dog at some point. But you know,
Mm.
but yeah. So how are you doing in the lockdown, man? Like you're still working, you're still training. Your stuff
hmm
hasn't really changed too much, has it, on your end? Like you're still.
No, apart from the change from the gym, like obviously with the situation with the gym's being closed, I got lucky enough to I got lucky enough to get a key to one of the local gyms here. So
Deadly.
all you need is barbell and plates, really. So
Yeah,
as long as you get the basic compound movements done, you're ready to go.
yeah, yeah. But no, I need to come out to. I want to try out the Newbridge gym once this is done. Like, looks
Oh,
absolutely.
you haven't been down since now?
I haven't been down, man. I mean, the last time I was down to Monasterevin was um uh, Oc- I think November or something. I haven't been down to Newbridge when it opened either, so I'll get
Wow,
that.
man.
I'll definitely get down.
One thing you've got to try is the Arsenal leg press. You're not going
Yeah,
to find anything better. It is so smooth. The mechanics on it is just perfect.
that's what Tommy was saying. He did 30 sets of quads, and I was like, all right, it must be a
30
good
sets.
30
30
sets.
sets.
Yeah,
Mad.
man. Tommy's one of the guys who just he's nuts. Like he'll continue. He'll push himself. He pushes himself. He used to push himself very hard.
He didn't get the hamstring sweep for that out of nowhere, you know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Who were your getting started anyway? Like when you started bodybuilding, like you were quite young. You were like myself, a teenager, got into the weights. And did you aim to compete straight away, like, or what was your introduction to the weights and bodybuilding?
Believe it or not, I don't think we've talked about this before, but the first person who got me into it was Conor McGee and Conor Flynn.
Hey,
Yeah. I think their first show was back in 2010. I could be wrong. It could be 11.
right,
I can't remember how the two boys done, but when I seen them boys doing, I was like, right, it's time to get the
yeah,
time to turn it up a bit much, you know. So
deadly, yeah,
um, yeah, that first show was what I done was in 2012
yeah.
with the RIBBF in the Nationals. Came second there. Came second. Well, who came first? It was Richard Senka.
Okay.
I haven't seen him in the game in a very long time.
No, a
I
lot of
still
the
I follow him on Instagram and he looks sick. Like I don't know why he's not competing.
yeah,
So
a lot of
Richard
juniors
come
don't
back.
compete though, man. A lot of juniors like they drop off. I mean, you were, I think, like out of your sweep, it was like you, Connor McGee,
Mm,
Christian. Um,
yeah.
that's it. I mean, and then there was, I think, um, but back then there was a lot more. There was a lot more bodybuilders back in each class and everything. I mean, we competed together when you came fourth in the juniors. In the IB,
Yes.
but there was like
When I was
20.
natural.
Yeah, 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 man. But that you still came fourth, and that was a class of 20 people at the time, or something like that.
That show, I fucking hate that show. Do you know that? Like, we was do you know the gossips what you hear back behind stage? Oh,
Yeah,
what you can't spill over. Once you take a diuretic, that's it. Yeah, you got to fill out then.
yeah,
I was like this. I was listening to a group of lads talking about that kind of stuff, and I was like, right, bring me down to the burrito. Went down to the burrito, got everything on it, guacamole, the whole lot, the carbs, the fats. Two of them, I'm talking about. These things were massive.
yeah,
As soon as I got watery, soft. I looked disgusting looking. I didn't even want to step on stage at that time, but it was enough to pull fourth place.
That's
Which
pretty
was,
funny.
yeah.
But that was
I didn't like that show.
You were coached, but when you were doing that, did you do your first show without a coach and then go to Declan for, or how did
That's
that?
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So,
I literally was reading everything off the internet.
yeah.
So.
And you still managed to place, in your first show though, you placed what was it, second? I mean, that's not bad. It's not bad.
No, it could have been a lot better because I was in quite good shape 2 weeks prior, even though I was cheating on my diet a lot. But you know, when anxiety, nerves come at you last week, you hear all these protocols about peak week and you have to do it a certain way, load up on the water, cut your sodium, like all the stuff that you shouldn't be doing, you know? And I just looked terrible, man. So that was another lucky escape as well.
Oh man, but the thing is, like back then, no one's really big. Like, I mean, there's no juniors apart from Blessing who was big. So you could win on structure, you could win on shape, but back then when you started training, was there any bodybuilders you looked up to, like Arnold or any of the guys, or was there any inspiration from?
Sean Ray was probably the first one. Yeah. When I seen his posing routine in 1999, I thought that was fucking unbelievable, man.
Yeah, you took one of those songs, didn't you, for one of your routines at some point?
Yes, I did, man. That's how all the posing came into play. Was watching guys like Sean Ray, Bob Paris. He was exceptional, exceptional.
What about
the list could go on.
Or any of them, or like that?
Lee Labrada is another one, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, he probably would be one of my favorites. Actually, Lee Labrada.
Because you're known for posing. Like, I mean, like that's the one thing people have always said to me. Like, Shane knows how to pose extremely well. So you probably practice posing. Yeah. You probably practice your posing a lot more
religiously
than people would. Like, what do you think? Like, do you think it's just not good to present a bad physique on stage? Sorry, you can't present a good physique on stage without knowing how to pose. Like, you have to know how to pose.
Yeah, it's I've seen a lot of guys who technically should have bet me, but their presentation was appalling. Like, they were uncertain how to engage a couple of poses. Like, you know, when someone hasn't done the homework, it doesn't look it doesn't look professional. Like, you know, like when you go on stage, you want the judges to look at you, see how your movement is, how you transition to poses. All that matters. Like, you want everyone's eyes on you.
Yeah.
So I know I'm not the biggest bodybuilder out there, nor I'm not the most conditioned bodybuilder. So I remember looking back at interviews like Sean Ray, all them guys who were trying to fight the top of the Olympia spot, and they couldn't beat Ronnie Coleman because he was just a freak. Like, so where's the last place where you're gonna have to improve? Posing. Yeah. Present, like that when I would listen to that kind of stuff, that was like another doorway to open up, you know. So.
Yeah. Did you do that from the get-go? Like, I mean, when you started competing, were you pretty much, you were on the ball with that from the get-go, weren't you? Like, you didn't slack.
Yeah.
Like,
if anything, I got more. I'm trying to think of the word here. More obsessed with it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I just love it.
Yeah.
I like zoning out. I like to see the changes. Like, some poses, what I'd like to do, and some transitions, what I like to do, look good in like the first 10 weeks, and then 5 weeks out, you go and do the same pose, and it's completely different. You're like, okay, let's change it up, do something completely different. Yeah. It's just like training. When you do the same training plan over and over again, it gets a bit repetitive and boring. And then when you change up, it's like a new spark, like, you know.
Yeah, man. 100%, 100%. And when it came down to it, you placed fourth. You competed. You came second. You competed again. You came fourth. But then after that, you competed and you won your first. You won your first national overall win, wasn't it, in 2015?
Yeah. That was right. Yeah.
And
I was coached by Carol Stugdick back then.
okay. And how long were you working then? Like at that point, was it a good while?
That was the first year I was working with him,
Yeah.
and I stuck with him for 2 or 3 years. I think no, 2 years. I think
Yeah.
2 years. Could have been possibly 3.
You did some of the PCA with him anyway. I mean, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did you go on to the Europeans after that, or did you just stay here?
No, I wanted to go to the Europeans, but I decided to take a whole year out. I needed to go into a deep off season. I needed to make big changes. Like, it's a different story when you go over to an international border. Like, they take bodybuilding. Like, them guys, they're born to be bodybuilders.
Yeah.
Their parents are bodybuilders. Their friends are bodybuilders. They have the structure routine since they were small. So.
Yeah.
You can tell as soon as you go over there and you're behind stage, you know that someone's put in the graft years and years before you. So I didn't want to go over there.
A lot of them would be, a lot of the amateurs at that level from other countries would be paid in some form as well. Like, I know the Worlds, they get paid to compete at the Worlds and stuff like that. But when you won that first show, I mean, like that I think that kind of showed, like, okay, Shane's not messing about. Like, Shane's here to stay. Like, before that, did you feel like people's opinion changed? Like, after you won, did you kind of get a bit more respect, a bit more?
The one thing what drove me on that year in 2015 when I won the overall was Carol texts me, goes, "Nobody expects you to come in condition, Shane. You know that."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Who?" You got this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. And I was like, "Oh, all right, okay. They're expecting me to come in soft again. Yeah, all right, okay. Let's change a few decisions there." So that was the number one motivator.
Yeah.
So.
Just come in conditioned, and you won it in the end anyway. But then the PCA, you went straight into the in 2016 or was it 2017?
No, 2016 I wanted to go to England. It was in Liverpool. I'm trying to think. It was the Diamond Cup. That was it. I remember it.
Yeah.
I was 3 weeks out, and you're going back to when I was about 20. I had the gym set up in the shed here, and I was doing deadlifts off the floor, and that's where I got a hernia. That's where I got the split in the middle.
Yeah, I remember you told me.
I'd done a lot of powerlifting before. Yeah, after the 2013. So 2014 I'd done a lot of powerlifting. Broke a record in that. But all of that training pushed out the hernia, and I was 3 weeks out from that show. And dude, I'm telling you, every time I took a breath in, I could see the hernia just increasing.
Oh,
it was so painful. We went to go to the emergency stop straight away, and the flights and tickets were all booked for, and there was no way I was going to be able to come back from that. So we went over there, watched the show. That was fucking horrible because I knew I would have done well there. So I had to suck that up and be like, okay, take your time, recover, and go for the show next year. And that was 2017, where I done the PCA in Ireland, no, Belfast.
Yeah.
Lost to Lot Gannon. Privileged to be to say that. There's another guy I think who should be turning pro very, very soon if you guys do get another crack.
Sure. I mean, like, if he decides to compete, is the question. I mean, he has it in him. He has it in him. I mean, but I mean, he's so humble as well. He doesn't really like to talk about that he's done so well. Like, but
you won't even see that motherfucker in behind stage. They'll be calling out all the boys, and then you see him just trotting along.
Like, he's just there. He's on his, like, he doesn't really care. That's cool, man. Yeah. But he'd be working. I'd say he'll turn pro. I'd say your boy Gio will turn pro as well soon enough.
He would have had a good crack at that muscle contest.
Yeah, man, those pictures.
Yeah.
Like, he's not He's not. I'm not. I haven't trained with him in like since October or September. I haven't seen him
Oh
since.
wow.
But I think because he's training with I think he's with Wally and all those guys. Focused
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
You know, when you're focused in, you don't want to train with anyone else. And
He's got a tight little, he's got a tight little circle around him. Yeah.
I mean, I 100% get that because he was with me every single training session every week for my preps anyway. So I was like, I totally get it. But you have a good view. Let's talk about your coaching as well for a bit. Like you've turned one person professional.
IB.
IB. You have a few good talents as well. Like do you have, apart from the obvious ones, IB and Giovanni, would you be working with anyone else in particular that you think has a good chance?
Yes, Leighton Bellinger. His shape is phenomenal. The only thing what is holding him back is his legs. Like, I think he was working with Brian Hickey there beforehand, and the first thing what I noticed was when he goes dieting down, his legs they shrink straight away.
Yeah.
Now, coming into this year, they've done the very same thing, but they didn't come in quite as dramatic. So that was definitely a plus side. He would have been one to watch, definitely. Like, I think them two guys, Gio and Leighton were going to be aheads with each other. Yeah. So that would have been really, really interesting.
I think Gio, I think his upper body is so ridiculous.
Dude, it's mad.
Once the legs aren't small. It's just they're just not as big as his upper body, his arms and stuff.
Yeah,
they're not small. But
it's a stubborn body part of his, all right. Yeah. But he definitely improved them.
Hard, man. He trains them hard, but yeah, no, I'd say he'll have a crack at it. And then obviously IB, when you turned him pro, that was big props to yourself.
Yeah. I've always knew IB would turn pro, and do you know what? I've known him since I was like 16, and he was always like messing around with MMA training and that. And I was like, dude. Like, if you've seen IB when he was 16, he was bigger than Blessy. He was much bigger than Blessy.
He was jacked up, like he was a big guy, like deadly.
Like he's got the genetics of Ronnie Coleman, no question about it.
Yeah.
Just that guy needs a good sponsor who's going to pay him, not give him free supplements, pay him, get his routine going, and dude, I'm telling you, that company's going to make their money's worth, 100%.
Yeah.
He's going to go to the top. No question about it.
The problem with living here, though, is like there's not very many companies in Ireland that. I mean,
we don't have the resources.
No, I mean we have of course we have like Glenn and stuff like that, but even at that, like that's not the sponsorship, the level of like a salary like that a professional should be getting in any form. But
then again, we don't have anyone doing these kind of podcasts. What you're doing right now, there is no like the boys in the UK. They have everything going.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, man. Because I'm watching their stuff, and it's like I love it. Like I'd watch Uber's stuff and a few of the like Luke Sando and all those guys, and they're 10 years ahead of us, man. Like they're just so far ahead. It's crazy, crazy. But when you first you did the PCA, you won your class over in the finals twice in a row.
The British finals,
yeah, twice in a row. Now at that point, you were still working with Carol, and then you switched over
to Nathan.
Oh, who was it? Nathan
Harmon.
Oh shit! Oh yeah. Okay.
That was very quick. Nathan, I don't know much about him. I know he's a good coach. But I don't know if I should be saying this. Like when I was working with him, it was more like any kind of questions what I would have. It would be towards the end of the month where the payment was due again, if you know what I mean. So my patience was really, really, really tight at that point because you know yourself when you're working in a warehouse and you're doing bodybuilding easy, man. Like the expenses are really, really high up there and demanding, and so was that price. So me looking into that side of things financially wise, it wasn't worth it. So I had to move on to someone who's going to be a little bit more pronto. Do you know what I mean?
And was that
So
when
I couldn't.
was that when you moved to Chris, or was that?
No. I decided just to take things in my own route. I actually prepped myself for the what's it? Oh no, actually wait, no. Sorry. That year I done the British finals the second time round. I done that myself, and then I went into Germany where I won the pro qualifier. So that year I done that myself.
Yes.
Actually, funny enough that you said that. Last year, after I was working with Carol, the year that I won the British finals in the PCA, I stopped working with Carol and I got in contact with JP, and I said to him, Jay, I think you're amazing. I would really love to get coached by you, but I want to see how I do myself for next year. Yeah. And if everything goes well, I think I might just keep doing what I'm doing. But if it doesn't, I'll be definitely coming to your way. And he was all about it, definitely. That was good. So that didn't happen, so I didn't go to him.
Yeah, no, I remember seeing you there, and that was like, I think that was your most conditioned anyway. Before you went to, like, I thought, like, before you went to the finals, it was pretty clear you were gonna turn but turning pro, you weren't going to do that. Weren't you gonna take some time off or something?
Yeah. Do you know what? I wanted to go and get the overall title in NABA.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
You see that massive sword? I still haven't fucking got it. That's one thing what I regretted. I went into the pro being a pro, I think a bit too quick. But then again, with that weight category, like I had to be 85 kilos to be on stage. So when I won the finals, I was 89 kilos. Yeah. So I had to lose 4 kilos in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And me at that point was, I still had like probably a kilo or two of fat there still to come off. So what I done was I'm not saying it's healthy or anything, but I literally was eating 800 grams of chicken for them 2 weeks.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's it. Man.
That was it. You remember those training sessions?
Yeah, man. You weren't there, man. Like you weren't there. Like
no.
Like that was pretty funny though. I remember like because you were coming in like unshaven and everything, just looked tired, and then you won. It worked out. But that being said, like when you won. It was a good show. I mean, what's his name? Leon tried to turn pro this year at it and didn't turn pro. I mean, so it's a good show. Like it wasn't like a walk. It wasn't an easy show to win. But when you did that, you started working with Chris Aceto for a bit.
Yeah.
How did that come about? What was that?
How did it come about? Working with Chris?
Yeah, man.
I've always wanted to work with Chris. I always wanted to see how he treats his clients and everything. So Glenn recommended me, and I thought, yeah, let's go for it. So got in contact with Chris, started working away. Like the one thing what I didn't like about Chris's off-season approach is he's very, very laid back. Like it's more so the client would do what he wants with the terms of like their own preparation of their own foods. And he doesn't do anything with training. Doesn't want anything got to do with training. So we had like 3 days check-ins where you just take a picture, tell him what the story is. And I've done that for 6 months, and I learned quite a bit just doing that. I've learned like keeping the foods quite clean. I like to eat quite clean in the off season. I've got a very sensitive stomach, so the likes of me eating like cookies and burgers and chips, what I used to do back in the day, it just inflamed my stomach. So the one thing what we got to do in the classic is get big without losing the lines. So we've done that for 6 months, and I was looking back at, and I was thinking to myself, I could have progressed a lot more if I had someone directing me in something what they would like. If Chris would have recommended me to go on, I don't know, a food plan or some kind of, I don't know, be more adventurous or something. Like, it gets very easy to lose track in the off season, especially when you're doing your own plan and that. So I wanted to work with like Cuba. I'm with him there now, and I went over to his place in Rotherham. As soon as I went over there, I was like, man, if I can train here, if I could be in that environment, I'm definitely going to change 100%.
I went to an Ultraflex the night of the finals last year, and those gyms are they're so good, man. They're so good. Like, I remember coming back and I was like to Tommy, I was like, oh man, I think it's like, you can see why there's so many good level athletes over there. I mean, they're forced. You can't not be good in that environment. Like, I mean, but working with Cuba, like would he be doing your training as well? Or
everything. That's
Yeah.
one thing I love about that guy, man. He gives, like, every single rep is fucking 100%. He's so focused, it's unbelievable, man. Like, there is no time off with that guy. It's all about bodybuilding. That's, to be honest, I can't see myself changing with any other coach anytime soon. Like, I'm happy where I'm at with what he's got.
Yeah.
Like, when you work with someone who's got that much of a determination to get to the top, man, join them. Be in that atmosphere. Like, it doesn't feel like a job. When you're working with them kind of people, that is like, you're working with, I don't even know how to explain it. It's just fucking awesome.
Yeah. And but working, so I take it basically with, like, that's what I've kind of heard. Is like Chris Aceto's very good if you're kind of already at the level. Like, if you're at that level where you just need someone to prep you for shows and not necessarily get you bigger, and make the drastic improvements. Like, he's obviously one of the best coaches around. But not everyone, like you can't expect, like, I would think someone at Cuba's level has more time for people as well. I would suspect that Cuba has a bit more time. Like, he's very hands-on.
Definitely.
Like, at all levels of the sport, because he's training with, I mean, he's a pro like yourself, and but he's 24. He's my age, man. He's 25, and I remember just seeing him walk around the show, and I was like, okay, he's a big cunt. Like, he's just phenomenal. But turning pro,
that was actually the first time I met him, when he turned pro over in Spain.
Yeah.
That was the time I was meant to compete, but I lost my passport.
Oh, all right. Yeah. So it was at that show when he won it. That was when he won.
Yeah, he won that. Yeah, I couldn't take part because of the timing.
Yeah.
I lost the passport. I got the passport 9 hours later. I missed the flight. I had to go a day later. So when I arrived, it was like, yeah, sorry, guy.
I remember that. Vic won his pro card then, though, didn't he? Or was he? No, he competed as a pro.
He competed as a pro. He won his title in Italy. I'm really sure it was Italy. Yeah. Yeah. That guy is shredded.
Is he coming back? Is he coming back to Ireland, or what's he doing?
He's in Ireland. He's in Dublin now.
Deadly. Yeah. No, he was peeled out of his mind, man. I remember seeing him hit those shots. It's just like, fuck. But he's a savage bodybuilder, but he's so quiet. He doesn't get out there as much as he should. He's popular in Brazil, though. Like, I mean, like, people know him in Brazil. But when you turned pro, like, obviously that was like probably your best moment in bodybuilding so far. Like, a lot of emotions, a lot of. Did you feel at that point, it was like, was it more like, thank God I did it, or how did you feel? at the time? Like, what was it like?
I don't think anyone can explain how you feel about that. It's like everything what you dreamed for has just happened, and you're looking at it, and your heart it's just an adrenaline buzz. Yeah, I can't describe it, man. It's by far one of the best highlights of my entire life, was reaching that. Because ever since I've been younger, like since I started the sport, I've seen how long it takes for the body to progress, and I've always set like long-term goals. And I said I've always wanted to turn pro before I turn 30. If I don't turn pro by 30, I'm just gonna not put as much like time and effort into it, but still pursue it. You know. So
I mean, I'm
happy I achieved that. I'm 29 now.
You turned pro 27 though, which is quite
27, 28. Yeah, 20. Yeah.
Still young though. I mean, it's like people are going on. Like, look, the average pro really only hits their peak in their 30s anyway. So, you know, but that being said, you turned professional in classic bodybuilding. Are you going to stick with that, do you think, for a good while and just see where you go in that? Or
put it this way, if I reach my limits with classic, I won't stop there and try and maintain the physique. I would still progress, and I'll wait for, like, they're always changing the criteria of classic physique and what the weight limits are. So if that goes up, happy days. If it doesn't, then I'll just move into the open class or 212. Like, even at that, I don't think 21. Nah, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do, but it's definitely going to be progressing. Always progress.
What's the weight limit now for yourself?
Right now it's 102.7 kilos in the morning. So the heaviest I got was 104? I think it was 104. So I've actually started prep there. I started my diet there just Monday gone there.
Deadly,
so,
man. But
but by the way, actually, I was listening to that podcast with Vinny, and I seen him, and he goes, "What shows you doing this year, Shane?" I was like, "I'm thinking of doing that September." And as soon as I said September, I seen it in his eyes that he was going to do it. So that was a funny one. I was laughing my head off of that.
Wanted to do the New York Pro. That
I wanted to do that as well. I'm glad I didn't now.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be able to compete. So
yeah. But that being said, how much can you weigh on stage? I mean, like, is it 90 something kilos?
91, if I'm correct. I need to check it again. I'm always forgetting.
Yeah, but I mean, if you weigh that much and you're absolutely peeled, like, I mean, you could do well. You could do well. But do you think like at this point, you know, it's such a big class? I mean, at the end of the day, I think a lot of bodybuilders are entering it now just because they can meet the requirements. It doesn't mean that they have a classic physique. So
yeah, I know what you mean. Them guys won't come. Them guys won't come anywhere.
No.
So it's kind of a waste of time, really. Just focus on the off season and get bigger.
Yeah. I mean, that being said, though, with Irish, like, I mean, Blessing was meant to compete there, and was it like 2 months ago, and he couldn't do it, or a month ago? Yeah.
And the Arnold Classic, that was disappointing. I was really hoping that he would kind of take a few hits there.
I think he would have been top 5. I honestly think, like his waist was so small, and he had the arms and stuff, like, from the front. He has those, like, the wacky front double bicep and the front lat spread and stuff like that. And
here's a question for you. Do you think there'll be a Olympia this year?
Ooh, it's a tough one, isn't it? Like, I mean, if in my head, if they open gyms, it's not even about opening gyms. It's about how many people are you going to be allowed to have in a room at that time? Because, I mean, the max will be after, like, they could do it, but it won't be in front of a live audience. Like, they could do it.
But the one thing what has me questioning is who's allowed to qualify? Like, are they going to have the same people who qualified last year in there, or are they going to have the points system?
Yeah. I would think if they cancel it, I I wouldn't say it'll be cancelled. I would say it'll just be pushed to like December or November or something like that if they have to push it. Or even if they did push it, they could keep it as Mr. Olympia 2020. Just do it at the beginning of the year. But I mean, it's so far away. It's hard to say. I mean, they did the Arnold Classic without an audience, so.
Weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, they did the pre-judging without the audience, and then the finals with an audience. So I was like, imagine the atmosphere there would have been none.
We talk about presentation, yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I hear the crowd clap, that's where I open up and I get into it more. If I see empty seats and I just see a judge there, it's hard to kind of give it your you know. It's a bit weird.
I mean, your coach would be there. I'd say like a few people would, but it wouldn't be the same, man. I mean, like I was watching. There was an interview with Wayne D'Amelia on YouTube, and he was saying back in the day when he used to promote shows, they didn't have any audience at the pre-judging. It was just the finals, and like pre-judging's usually packed out because people want to see it, get people against. You know, especially here. I mean, everyone has their rivalries and like certain gyms going to different shows and everything, and they want to see who comes up on top. So, who do you think, like moving forward, like we have a good amateur scene now. I mean, we have a few deadly, like including your clients, and then outside of that, like, is there any names in particular that you think have a chance, you know, or like be it international, amateur, or professional, do you think? Like, I mean, would a few come to mind? Like, it could be girls. It doesn't have to be bodybuilding, like, be anyone.
For the lads, the likes of Locke.
Yeah.
Obviously, Gio, the guy we talked about, and Leighton. Brian, is it Brian Kearney? Brian Kearney?
Brian Carey.
Yeah, I think he's got to be Ireland's strongest bodybuilder.
Yeah, he's like 42 as well, man. He's old.
What the fuck, man? That guy came out of nowhere. Like he's lifting more weight than I've ever lifted. Even plus 50 kilos more.
Yeah, but I mean, he trains with Christian a lot. Like
Christian.
Yeah,
there's another guy. I can't believe we forgot about Christian.
Yeah,
he's made some. I can't even explain how you can get so conditioned and put on that amount of muscle.
Yeah.
Freaky. Very, very, very freaky.
He's working with Patrick Dore now.
Yeah.
He gets all his guys, like, they're all really round and full. And I mean, there's certain things that go into that, you know, that come to mind. But I think it's more the training. I mean, I asked Christian, could I do some of his training? And apparently it's like, it would be kind of a lot what, it would be a mix of what Locke does. And then, like, I don't even know. It's just, I want to try it, but like with your training though, you've gone through a few coaches for your training. You've worked with Locke, you've worked with Cuba, you worked with Declan. Would he have done your training back then as well?
Definitely clear.
Yeah.
No, not with the training. More so with the diet.
Yeah.
So,
but working with Locke, what was that like? Because he's very particular, like very.
Talk about execution done correctly.
Yeah.
I done movements what I thought I'd done perfectly was completely opposite. There's one thing of moving the weight to A to B, but to actually control it and actually get everything out from the muscle fibers, that's where Locke will teach you down to that. So I reckon if you want to take bodybuilding to a serious note, make sure you're able to connect with the muscle instead of just moving it. Like I've got some, I can move some serious weight. You've probably seen some videos of me doing 200 kilo shoulder press in the split machine for a couple of reps. No engagement whatsoever. Like I can barely do 100 and like do 10, and that'll be just perfect. So another 100 kilos serves no purpose whatsoever. So that's one thing I've learned with Locke. Cuba is just giving every single effort, like intensity down to a grand.
Yeah. Would it be like Dorian training? Would it be?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah, all
Yeah,
out, blood and guts, man.
yeah. I mean, every guy in the UK seems to do that. There's no guy in the UK that does the like.
Like for me, it's I've not only do I notice it for the training aspect of things, it translates into the diet as well. Like
Yeah,
we pushed our food well over like 6,000 calories, and I was still maintaining the same condition as I was beforehand. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Was it clean?
So
Well, or was it like?
it, it was clean, and then we started adding a little few junk food in there.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
way he sees it is like you the more clean food that you eat in the off season, you're just going to blow out your midsection, which makes total sense. So the
yeah,
likes of the baby rice and the Rice Krispie bars, what he's always known for, they help keep the volume a lot smaller. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
I
the
mean,
training makes a massive difference, man. Definitely, 100%.
yeah, that's one thing actually. I mean, people like when you turn like you're obviously at the level now where you're going to be stepping on stage with you know I mean guys who have been on the Olympia and like people think of classic, they think of Chris Bumstead, Keown Pearson's probably my favorite at the moment, but he's going to 212.
Yeah,
But
I don't know why he done that.
yeah, I mean,
I think I think he could have won the Olympia if he kept at it.
I think
I
he
know he
just
was showing.
he wanted
It
to
was
get
the weight thing.
yeah,
I think it was a weight restriction that was holding him back. I think.
yeah, because he's big now. He looks. I'm just apparently he was natural as well for a good while when he turned pro. Like I
I well believe it.
yeah, but like with that, do you think your training has had to adjust now? Like you can't really add too much weight in unwanted areas. Like as your training had to change where it's just bring up certain body parts to fit into the weight class kind of thing.
More so my biceps. My arms are very. They've always been lagging.
Yeah,
Yeah, biceps is just a weak point. I've incorporated them a lot more frequently. So
yeah.
they're slowly coming.
Deadly, deadly. Man. I mean, people say people underestimate like how the shape of a muscle belly can affect how big it looks. I mean, your arms are probably what, like 19 inches or something, 18
Mate,
inches.
they're 18 for the last 2 years,
Yeah,
and do you know what? Even though that they haven't grown in like inches, like that kind of way, the
yeah,
shape of them is completely different.
yeah,
Completely different.
yeah.
So
That's the
even
important.
they're couple, yeah, I can see how the triceps a lot more 3D now. So I don't always go by the measurements.
Yeah,
It's all about the illusion.
yeah.
When you're shredded down to the bone, you can see them lights going into them little cracks. That's
That,
illusion.
that's what separates the top guys from the mid-level guys though as well, isn't it? Like I mean, but then again, do you think it's a genetic thing as well? I mean, because like there was certain bodybuilders like they get peeled, but they just don't have that roundness and wow factor. You know, I mean, like if that makes any sense. I mean, um, like I don't even know. I
Like that come yeah, that opens up a lot of doors because you can have someone like IB
yeah,
who you can have him flat and he would still look round, full, and the same as Gio, round,
exactly.
full. But then you could have a normal guy who has got normal genetics. If you was to bring him in and he was flat and you didn't carb him up right, then muscles are going to look so soft and they're going to make him look fat. Whether if you had the right protocol and you set him, you got the high carbs in there and everything,
Yeah,
the muscle pops. So it kind of depends on that kind of sort of things, you know.
yeah. Like when you've been coaching these genetic guys, though, I mean, IB and Gio have like freaky genetics. Have you had, has it been harder? Because I mean, like in my head, I'm like, they probably react very well to certain things, but then
Mm.
like if you throw too much of something at them, it could fuck it all up. Like I mean, um,
It's easy at the start because
yeah,
everything happens so quick.
yeah,
But when you're trying to get the small little details into it, them guys change so quick. Say, for instance, a person who would change in 3 days, they will change in 1 day.
yeah, yeah,
It's just fast forward with them guys. Everything is just speeded up. So it's in one sense it's easy, but another sense it's hard because you have to keep on them on a daily basis. Like when Gio was going into the muscle contest, there was a stage where we was doing check-ins every single day. So that on top of other people, it's a mind fuck. Like I have folders of everything, what the intolerances of foods are and everything. There's no way I'll be able to keep it here. No way.
How light did he get to, man? Because I remember he got up to like 110 in the rebound. Or
Oh, no. Yeah. No, I didn't have anything got to do with that.
yeah. So.
when I sent him the message that the muscle contest was postponed,
Yeah.
I went up to him just to tell him, and I seen his belly. He's massive, man. I was like, yeah, you didn't stick to that diet, did you? He was like, no, Shay, I got pissed off, man, so I went and ate a load of donuts. But he looked fucking good after it, man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But
I don't know what weight he's at.
But he just got up. I remember saying he was like, because I remember when me and him were training, I think he was under 100. He wasn't over 100.
He was 91 kilos at the lowest.
Yeah. I mean, that's still heavy. I mean, that's still heavy enough.
Mm.
I mean,
yeah.
No, that's crazy. I remember, but I mean, no, I'd say like the fact though he's training with guys like yourself. He's training with Wally, he's a big boy as well. I mean, like I haven't seen.
I don't know. I've never seen how old is he? 19, 20?
20. It's crazy.
20. Is he lifting 310 kilo deadlift? Smooth.
It's natural as well. And you know what's funny?
I believe it.
And that's the thing. I would. And the reason being is Akin is another guy. Like, he's natural. And
Who?
I remember Akin, you know the guy, like he came.
Yes. He came second to Gio.
Yes. With the glasses and the shape and everything.
Yeah.
Done all the small shows. He hasn't done done the national show yet. Like,
he's what you call a dark horse.
Yeah. And I remember talking to him, and it's like, oh, I dieted for 5 weeks, and I suffered for 5 weeks, and I just can't get that lean. I was like, you know why you didn't get completely lean? Because you dieted for 5 weeks and you still won. So it's like,
no surprise, man.
Yeah. But like guys like that, like when they're told, you know, I'd say the amount of shit they get, like when they are natural, because I know for a fact, like Gio won't mind me saying this, he wasn't touching anything for half of the time we were training together. He was off everything.
I think you'd be surprised how much them boys actually take, man. He's absolutely like next to nothing.
Nothing.
No.
I wish I had those genetics. I wish I had that. I think we all do. But at the end of the day, I think what's separate, like when you get somebody like that and they put in the work, that's when you see the high-level competitors do very, very well. Is there any girls you'd be keeping an eye on, or would it just be the bodybuilding and the classic bodybuilding that you'd be watching these days?
Oh, do you know what? I'm terrible with names. Evie, do you know Gav King's girlfriend?
Yeah.
She's been very close to getting that pro cards. I can see her getting that very, very soon.
Who was it? We had that girl who competed there, Jessica Kavanagh. Didn't she compete?
Oh, yeah.
Second.
Do you know, I thought she was the first IFBB Pro bikini girl, but it was actually Helga. Do you remember Helga?
Yeah.
She's kind of like, yeah, she was the first bikini girl who won it. She looked great.
I mean, we have a few. We have Emma Gormley up in the north, Dave Fox's wife. I mean, she's jacked up. She's a big girl.
Did you see her glutes are fucking massive, man.
Like,
they look, yeah.
Crazy shit. She's not young either. She's obviously been training. Who do we have? We had Claire McGrath. She's done though, isn't she?
She's gone now. Yeah. Unfortunately, she was good at that.
She had a good physique. Yeah. But in terms of like the organizations, like, do you think, a question for you is, we came up and there was only 2 organizations to compete in at the time, really. I think there was 3, but like, do you think that with the emergence of the PCA, Pure Elite, the split between the federations, do you think it's a good or a bad thing for bodybuilders in Ireland? Do you think it's been a good thing for more shows, or has it diluted?
No, for an amateur, I thought PCA was by far one of the best shows put together.
Okay.
Like, you're treated like an athlete. You have bottles of water, you have food, you have people coming up to you. Hey, how you feeling? You all right? You confident? Yeah. Okay, let's go. It's completely different. So PCA is definitely one of the go-tos for an amateur, 100%. I like Nabba. Nabba's good as well. I had a good crack at Nabba. RIBBF was more of a very strict. Like, even I remember the time we was having a good bit of crack before we went on stage. All the boys, all the lads, and we got told by the staff members to keep it down. How can you keep down a bunch of lads who are dieting for like half a year to get into the most sickest shape ever? You're expecting everyone at the shows is normally like quiet, they're depleted, they have no sense of humor whatsoever. So at that point, everyone was so lit up, they were so happy just to be there. It was a great fucking, it was a good vibe when it lasted.
I love that. I love being backstage and everything. It's like, that's the one thing I actually like, because you get to see who's in shape and who's not. It's just been the case where I haven't been in shape, but everyone else has.
Believe it or not, that's not always the way. I've seen guys behind stage, I'm like, yeah, got him, conditions shit. See them on stage and they pop like lights, man. It's weird, very, very weird. So don't always judge the lights in the changing rooms.
It's mad, because I remember I was like, I mean, I've no shame in saying this. Like, when I came third, okay, I looked okay. I mean, I remember coming to you. I remember me and Gio were there the week before. And I remember I said I was cutting out all sodium. And you said, don't cut out the sodium. Now, I still managed to pull out what I wanted at the end of the day. But do you think, like, the standard of conditioning and stuff has dropped a little bit? Or do you think it's always the same guys? We're going to be at the top. There's just less guys in the classes.
Saying that, actually, Mantis and Brian Kearney, I remember them two guys. There was another guy under 70s in one stage. There has been a good few guys who've come in like proper conditioning. Christian Michelundian. Yeah. His condition is probably by far one of the best in the country, I think. He's
peeled now.
So,
he's peeled now. He's ready now, and I'm just like,
I'm comfortable to say he's gone better.
Yeah,
yeah. But, in the back in the day, you had Tommy Staunton and you had Ender Wright. Ender Wright was. Remember the time he went to Brazil? No, yeah, Brazil for the Worlds. He was bone dry, shredded.
He won it.
Shredded. Yeah.
But I mean, the first bodybuilder I saw in person was Tommy when he won the Worlds as well, and he looked.
2012. Yeah. I was hammered at that show.
Yeah. No, because I remember I mean, I do think my first exposure to true peeled condition was Aaron Power's legs. I think because when he was training in my gym the whole time for that show, and I remember seeing that in person. I still haven't seen legs like that in person. Just everything was there. Everything was there. He's gone though. He's completely gone.
He's not making a comeback, no.
No, he can't. The reason why is, and this will make sense to you,
his mum.
Professional. He focused too much on it. He focused so much on the show that he wasn't able to work. He dropped out of school for bodybuilding. So he kind of got to the point where he had nothing else. So when he stopped, he didn't have a job or anything. But he's fine now. He's doing grand now. He wouldn't.
Do you know what? That's really unfortunate, because for a guy like Aaron, his knowledge in training and everything else was definitely up there. So you can imagine if he could translate that to nowadays, where he could absolutely take that as a full-time job instead of doing all this part-time stuff what he was doing. Yeah. He would have. I hope to see him come back. That'll be a real.
He could, and he would grow back all his muscle within the year anyway. But he has a full-time job, and I think he's happy enough. But In terms of training legs, he trained you for legs. I know that.
That's how I managed to do all my crazy training for my legs was from
Yeah.
Aaron.
Yeah.
I think I was that close from dying. No joke. So
I think the
yeah,
only person with that intensity, like I've trained with Christian, it's been that intensity, but it's been very clever intensity. So it's not quite like that. It's very smart intensity. And then Locke, I trained with
yeah.
Brian. Brian trained me. Actually, Glenn trained me and Gio the way Locke would train him. And
Mm.
and me, I laugh about this now because I think that was the first time I think Gio had trained legs really, really, really hard, like to the point of like couldn't walk and failure. And
Mm.
but I think when you're trained like that, that shocks you because like I mean, you don't think it's there until
Yeah,
pushed.
definitely 100%, man. 100%.
Like, would you have any training partners now that you'd be training with, or would you be on your own these days? Would it be
Unfortunately, right now I'm training by myself. I can't like bring people to the gym like
no, of
it's
course.
yeah. So I've had like close like times where I've nearly dropped the bar on myself from not having a spotter. So I think I actually tore something in my anterior delt here. I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure if it's torn or it's just
Was
a
it flat
small
bench
little.
or was it what was
No, it was from incline pressing. Like obviously when you're not used to, all benches have different types of like angles and that. So me going into that, putting on the amount of weight what I normally do in one stripping gym,
yeah.
big fucking like that's just small little minor mistakes where you make, you know, just angles. You're not used to it, so why would you go and do something where you're
Yeah.
not used to? Yeah.
I did
Oh.
flats machine bench. Oh fuck. I think it was like 3 weeks after the show, and I was like, same thing happened to me, the exact same thing. I was like, for fuck's sake. And then I thought back and I was like, why did I do flat bench when I haven't done it since off season 2019? Like, there's no
Yeah.
point. In
Mm.
2018, and I'm pretty sure it was with you. Yeah, it was. It was with yourself and my friend Anthony. But like in terms of gyms in Ireland as well, do you think like the standard of gyms has shot up? So obviously there's
Mate, the
so
amount of equipment Glenn has brought into this country is crazy. Like between bringing the hammer strength, I think he was the first person to bring it in,
yeah,
but he completely kitted out the whole gym with hammer strength, like the best of the best, brand new. Then he brought in Arsenal, which I actually prefer. I think it's better than hammer strength. It's so much smoother. So for terms of equipment, we're definitely up there. We have no excuses whatsoever right now.
I think it's just stubbornness. If you can't find a good gym, it's just stubbornness. I mean,
Yeah.
if I have Gold Gym near me, it's similar enough to Glenn. Like he imports everything himself. And I asked my friend Jay who owns it, can I borrow some of his kit over the lockdown? And he said, oh, and you're about a month late to the party. 200 people have asked, and he has to have enough that when he opens the gym, it can actually function. So he couldn't give me anything. But with
That's
Glenn,
if that's even if he gets them back.
yeah, but Glenn not give you a few bits of kit, or you don't need them really.
Do you know what? I've tried contacting him and I've got no reply. But I think he's got that much inboxes from that amount of people that he's
Yeah.
just got the phone and just went,
No, in
leave me
fairness,
alone. Yeah, so
to him, I remember when he gave me his number. I remember he was like, he he was so busy. I remember when he was in the gym chatting, like he'd pick up his phone and would just be doesn't stop. Like,
that one phone call could be about 40 grand's worth of the
I
conversation.
know,
So
crazy, isn't it? And it's like, but the fact that he makes time when you go into the gym, he'll make time and say
yeah,
hey. And he's always said, Owen, go up and cook your food in the microwave if you want to. And like, he welcomes the guys in and he welcomes everybody in. I mean, they're like, I mean, in Monasterevin now, I'm sure at the Newbridge, I'm sure there's yourself, there's McGee. Um, is there any other competitors now in it apart from the main
got
guys?
Brian Murphy. Brian Murphy's down there. He's down with the boys a lot.
Yeah.
She's got a good few fellas. I feel like I'm insulting everyone for not saying their names. You got, I don't think Locke's been down to the new gym since, but he's been down to Monasterevin a lot. He's got a lot of clients down there, right?
Okay. Yeah, no, it's hard. You can't keep track of the like I mean, even when I went there, I remember I was talking with Tara Ivry. I mean, she did all the shows with Glenn, didn't she? She went over abroad and everything with them.
That's right. Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't think she was too happy with the way they went, just personally. But I mean, like, she was in a. I remember, like it's good to have like one person. Like, there's a few people like that in Ireland who will actually put a bit of time behind people if they've kind of proven themselves to be worth it. But I mean, do you think like Ireland could do with a bit more of that? Like a few gyms actually sponsoring athletes, like. It doesn't just have to be one man doing it. So.
Oh, of course, definitely. Anything helps. So,
I
think with the amount of athletes what we have in Ireland, we're more than capable of putting it up there. It's just a matter of making as less fuck up days as possible. Like, you can't have a perfect day every day, so you might as well just try and get the small amount of fuck ups as you can.
Yeah.
So.
How do you think sponsorship is like you were lucky enough, like you got into you got an article in Flex magazine. Are you still sponsored by Hulk Nutrition or whatever?
No, that was a really bad situation. Them guys, they put everything. They first started off with just the Hulk supplement company by itself. Then they wanted to extend it on to have a gym inside the store. Well, obviously the store being not as that big, but they put all their eggs in one basket, and all the equipment got robbed. So everything just went, unfortunately, and they never found out who it was.
Oh shit!
So yeah, that was a really, really bad situation right there, unfortunately. So that went down.
Yeah. Did you not get any attention from the Flex magazine, like the article and everything?
Well, they're only a magazine company, so it's not like back in the day where you used to do a photo shoot and you used to get paid 10 grand for it and write an article. It's more so like they're actually the magazines are nearly gone now because you have Instagram and that kind of stuff now.
Yeah.
Something what I'm really not into. I can't have a phone and talk into it. It's fine when I'm talking to you because I can see you and I can actually have a conversation with you. Yeah. But when you're talking to a camera and it's just like, I feel like I'm talking to myself. I feel I'm going a bit crazy. So, but that's the way things have gone now. So, like, if you wanted to make it and you wanted to get like a really good sponsorship and get paid for it and do it as a full-time thing, flick on the phone, get used to talking to yourself and try and give information what people don't know, the right information, and eventually you will get something back.
Yeah.
Me being myself, I'm just that stubborn. But this is a start.
This is a start, man, 100%. I said, look, I've nothing really to do. I may as well do it. And I think the end goal, I think it'd be interesting. I was going to ask you this. Come the time of the national, like let's say all the shows are going ahead in October, September, whatever. I want to do what Irish Muscle used to do and interview the top 3 competitors in every class, have a backdrop they can go to, and make it a live interview as they win or come second.
That'd be sick.
That'd be good. So I was thinking like I'd get some people to do them with me as well. So I wouldn't know what the plans are now at all. Like, it depends how this goes and how many people like this. But I think it would be cool, man, because I remember you got, like, did you get an Irish Muscle interview? You probably did, like, back in the day.
I don't even bring them up. I hate watching them. Oh, no. Yeah. I see what you're talking about. That's a really, really good idea. Oh. The reason why I don't like to talk about it is because back then, I didn't have a fucking clue what I was doing. Yeah. It's a different story now, but yeah, no, it's nice to look back at them kind of like videos to see how far you've come. So yeah, don't think twice, just do that.
Yeah, deadly man. But that being said, so sponsorship. If anyone wants to sponsor Shane, there we go. Click on his you know, his bio and everything. But that being said, you've been lucky enough. You've had a steady job.
Mm.
You've been able to finance your bodybuilding well enough. And you're also, a few people may not know, you're a father. Like, how old's your kid? He's getting on now, isn't he? He's like,
Mate, he's nearly 10 now.
man, fuck, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you think
He was going to go down the route of being a kickboxer, but that's gone. He's been watching too much cartoons now.
fair enough. I was gonna say, like, would you, if he wanted to do bodybuilding, would you help him
I have
do
no
it?
problems whatsoever. I would help him in the right way.
That's the way.
Not, yeah,
I'd rather have someone do it the right way as opposed to fucking up and doing all the bad things first, you know?
exactly. Yeah.
So,
These young fellas, they've got a lot of like potential to get somewhere far now. Like the stuff what I've done since I started, I've probably wasted about 4 or 5 years just doing stuff. What, don't get me wrong, it has worked, but not to the capability of what it could have been. Do you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Like,
So
no, that's a great statement because, like, I mean, even in Raw, even in Dublin, I mean, there's so many young guys getting into it. Not necessarily bodybuilding, like they want to do physique. And like the me head in me says, I tell them this as well. Like, would you not like step in and give it your all and step on a bodybuilding stage and at least present your full body or at least go for it? But I think a lot of people are doing men's physique because they think it's an easy thing to do. It's not as time consuming. Um, Now, obviously, we both know that's not to be true. I mean, professional men's physique guys they're bodybuilders. They are bodybuilders. They just have the proportions for a men's physique. But do you think the standard of the young level of bodybuilding in Ireland it's not dropping. It's spreading out. It's not so focused on one thing. Or,
for bodybuilding,
yeah, like do you
no,
think like
it's definitely spreading out, right? 100%. If you
yeah
look at the likes of Brian Keary, he's only started and he's nearly at the top.
yeah
So
very true. That's actually very true. He started training in his 30s. But I mean,
how long has he tried? He's only training what, 3 or 4 years?
yeah, he's only been competing like 3 years, but he started training like as a bodybuilder, I think like 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah. So I mean,
Well,
we've been training longer than he has, and but he's so strong. He's so strong. Like I love seeing that. Like another guy I love seeing train is Conor McGee. I think he's a freak to watch train. I love watching him train. 'Cause, I
he's a
mean,
big inspiration.
and like, cause he was a skinny kid. Like he wasn't a big guy at all. Like he had but he's put on that muscle. Um, but I mean, you have certain young guys. I think like the juniors in this country. I think there's just less of them. But that being said, I the guy who won NABA was shredded 20 kilos lighter than the next guy, and he was natural. So in my head, I'm like, I think the standard's dropping a little bit. Did you not
What year was this?
this year, last year, in NABA,
Oh, last year.
2021?
Who won that?
There was a guy called Dan Lenihan. I'll link you to him later on.
Yes. I think I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I've got a good idea who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah,
He's very aesthetic.
not big, like he just came in condition and won because the guys weren't in shape. Like there wasn't like a lot of them looked about 5 or 6 weeks out, and I was kind of like, look, I know I didn't come in like shredded as a junior, but I was lean enough that the guys who bet me were just conditioned. Colin was peeled to the bone, and then Mark Hodson was peeled, and then Giovanni bet me, but he was just freaky looking. But I still say that to Gio every time we talk. I still say to him, "Remember that day I actually bet you once? Like I'm always gonna have that over."
That's the only time you're going to say it to.
He bet me every single time since. He's bet me every single time. And I know for a fact if I was to keep them now, where I'm at now, I wouldn't know that. Like I know, I think I need another year. Um, yeah, I'm gonna do NABA 2021 and go for the national title then. And just come in condition for once and see what happens. But
Try and get that sword.
dude, that's what I want. Like I just want that sword. Like take a picture with it, and then I'll leave it leave it in the gym somewhere and just not think about it. Glenn still has my trophies, man. I still have all my trophies up in Manus forever. I have to come
Oh,
back.
have you?
I still have to come back. All my junior trophies are up there, and my all my junior trophies are up there. All my new ones are at home, but I need to come back up. But that being said, like future plans for yourself, we'll finish this up. Future plans for yourself. Obviously, with the lockdown of coronavirus, 2021, would that be your next? Is that when you think?
No.
No.
I've already started my diet for September 24th. That's in Prague.
You're
Like,
still going for it. You're still going.
I'm still going to go for it. Like I've done 2 years in off season, so I want to see. Regardless if the show doesn't go on, I'm still going to go and diet. I want to see what's underneath all this fat, man.
Sadly, man. Sadly.
Yeah.
Well, look, we'll have to come up for a few sessions anyway, because like I'll be pushing the weight up and I'll be working in gym. I'm going home with bodybuilding. I've said, look, if I'm not going to do it now, I'm not going to do it. So, I mean, but that being said, where can people find you? Like, you're also a personal trainer outside of your full-time job. Like, would you just coach bodybuilders, or would you coach people from everyday life as well?
If it was my choice, I would prefer to choose a client what's aiming for something serious. Like if you're a beginner, I think you're best off going to someone else.
Okay.
Personally, like I like to see someone who like to achieve something in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
It's like it's more appealing to me, you know. I've worked with people who's only started off, and for me, it's not really a strong point. I don't really, when I'm explaining something, I can see it in people's eyes where they're like, okay, he's going into too much detail. All I want to do is just get a pair of abs. So I like to see someone put in a lot of effort into the sets, understand how the body works and their own body works. So yeah, I like to keep it a little bit on that side.
Different, man. I mean, like I prepped I prepped 2 men's physique guys, and I'll be up front. I didn't really enjoy it because it was like training guys for a show. I really don't like. It wasn't training somebody for bodybuilding. Okay, so I had a junior ready for like he was gonna do the juniors in October. He's pulled out obviously because he didn't have enough off season with this. But like it was nice to train somebody who really wanted it. But then on the other hand, I don't mind people just doing what they want. So, but that being said, like, would you be like, can people find you? Can people contact you for training or coaching? Like,
Yeah.
Instagram?
I'm not that popular on social media, but if you want to get in contact with me, it's Shane_Cullen_ IFBB Pro Instagram.
Sure, man.
That's it.
Yeah, I have one question now. I think your friend. I'll read this out for you.
Who's it by the way?
It says, Beardy J.
BDJ.
I'll read out.
I think I'm not.
Because it seems very specific. He says, ask Shane, does he remember the time squatting in his shed and he got pinned against the wall and his mum walked in shocked? All he could do was laugh and the bar had wedged in between the rack and the wall. So I'm guessing this must have been years ago or something.
I got pinned against the wall.
Like he said, you were squatting in your shed and you got pinned against the wall, between the rack and the wall. So
I can't remember that, mate.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's not me trying to cover it up. I just can't remember that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I have had plenty of incidents where I've fallen off benches, farted a few times and stuff like that. I can't remember after them.
Oh yeah, don't get. I've done a few deadlifts where I've shit myself. All right, yeah, 100%. Like,
Like I mean,
Derek,
I've no
I,
in it. Like I've chat
I was
myself.
doing, I done squats there like I think it was a month before, and
Yeah.
I bursted a load of blood vessels in my eye, and
Oh,
I had a whole black eye. So yeah, I've had a few of those occasions, all right.
what? From doing
Yeah, just all the blood pressure just went into my eye and just went.
no, man. I mean, the worst I've had. No, I remember 5 years ago. I remember I was doing leg press, and I remember like there was nobody else in the gym, and I remember I let out. I thought it was a fart, and I let it out, and I ended up shit.
You didn't.
I
Wait,
changed my boxes.
what kind of shorts was you wearing?
Oh, I was wearing tracksuit bottoms, so it was okay.
Ah, were
So
they grey?
I took off my jocks and just went commando and finished the session. But I mean, that was pretty funny. I remember, but no, I mean, sure. Look, at the end of the day, I mean, like with your training, I mean, we've always had fun. We've always trained hard, but we've always had fun in between it. Like, do you think like you can train to a high level and have a bit of fun as well. Just make sure that
Yeah.
you're training hard when you do train hard. Like, simple as.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, look, Shane, it was deadly having you on. We've pretty much reached an hour and a bit. What I will
That went
do
quick.
that was quick, man. But that's the thing. I mean, hopefully, when you could, I'd say, look, let's say, touch wood, man. That is it. The New York Pro you're going for?
No, Prague in the 24th of September. Hopefully, it'll be still going ahead. If not, I'll just go to the next show, probably Romania. Basically, all the shows what Kuba's doing, I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah. Deadly, man. No, because what I'm just thinking in my head, like, because I want to book some times off. If it's in France, and everything's going well, I'll come over and watch, man. Why not?
It is in France.
Or where was it? Where did you say it was?
It was in Prague,
In
in
Prague.
Czech Republic.
I'll still come over, man. It's only in Europe, like I'll still come over. I'll still come over, 100% if it's on. But that being said, man, it was deadly having you on. I'm sure, look, the fans will get a good listen from this. I mean, the whole aim with this podcast is nobody's really doing it. So, like, hopefully, closer to time, like, let's say the show's confirmed, I'll definitely have you on. Maybe film a training video or something for. I want to set up a website with videos and stuff as well. So,
All right, cool.
we'll see what happens, man. But look, thanks for coming on, and everybody. His link is Shane_Cullen _IFBB Pro on Instagram for any DMs or inquiries for training. And with that, that is the Irish Iron podcast is out. So